Greetings, fellow humans. You know me as Iceman Caesar, and this is what's up in the world today. Sports, 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 sports. Hey, sports! That's right. Name of the game today is all things sports. Gonna be talking about a little bit of everything: baseball playoffs, CFL riders, NHL season preview, Jets, a little bit of golf, a little bit of WWE with a coming off an awesome Australia Mania WWE Super Showdown show that Saturday came through Saturday morning. Just finished it, watching it last night. Awesome shows. So got to talk about that, but gonna try to cover a little bit of everything because there's lots going on and I didn't think there's not really enough time to break it down into each one in its own different video. So just wanted to combine them and talk about a little bit of everything. Gonna start off with baseball playoffs because they're going down right now, and baseball playoffs are always the best time of year in whatever sport, but baseball playoffs are just on another level for me because in other sports you can, football you can kneel it down, basketball you can grind it out with timeouts and fouls and things like that. But in baseball, like you have to throw strikes no matter how much your lead is, no matter how much. It just doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how much you're winning by. It doesn't matter like how dominant you've been against another team. You got to throw three strikes and get three outs in each inning to get to the end. And it's like, and you see the best example of it in the recent years was that Texas St. Louis series when Texas just had they were right there. I mean, so many times, one strike and then just bam, those Cardinals just kept cranking big hits, cranking home runs. That was one of the most incredible series to watch. And I wanted Texas, and then they had a lot of guys that I thought really deserved to get a ring, so I was kind of cheering for Texas. And man, it was just heartbreaking to see these guys come so literally as close as you can possibly get. But man, because of baseball, you got to throw strikes down the plate. And because of that, the St. Louis hitters were able to take advantage. It's just that to me was the best example of why baseball playoffs are so great. Because no matter, you can't kneel it down. You got to throw a strike. You got to throw those strikes, and you got to get three outs. So I love baseball playoffs, and I've loved baseball since I was a kid. Watched The Sandlot as a kid, and just fell in love with baseball. And then Babe Ruth and the Yankees, and so obviously, first series we're going to talk about for the baseball playoffs is my New York Yankees versus Boston Red Sox. And man, I'm glad I'm so glad that these two teams are meeting in the playoffs again because, excuse me, obviously everybody knows about the legendary Yankees Red Sox rivalry, but these two teams are both really really good right now. So the fact that they're coming together and colliding in the playoffs is just it's a win for all the fans. And this is what you want. You want great baseball. You want those pressure situations to create legendary moments. So really happy that this series is going down. Already 2 games in. First game was first game was a little frustrating because we weren't able to get the sale, but we got to the bullpen and made it. Came within 1 run of tying it up, and then game 2 though that is the key to victory. We got to be able to tag their starters with a few runs, and because we know we can rock their bullpen, but it's. As long as we tag a few runs on their starters, I think we should be able to drive in enough runs against the bullpen to win the game. So it's going to be the hitters really got to focus on attacking the starters and really tagging some runs on because we've proven that we can hit the bullpen, and the bullpen's going to be trying to do everything they can to reverse that trend. So it's gonna be a great series. It's tied up at 1, going back to New York for 2, and cannot waste this opportunity. Got to lock it out. Do not want to go back to Fenway. So it's gonna be great. Going down. Game goes down tomorrow night. Starts right around supper. So perfect. Get home from the Rider game. Boom. Watch the Yankees in a playoff game. Does not get much better than that. So, but it's just go, man. Gary Sanchez. The Red Sox cannot catch Sanchez, baby. That was just a beautiful performance. Just crushing home runs in clutch situations right when we needed them. So it's but the Red Sox have such a dangerous lineup; they could crank them right back and steal this series. So got to be on our game and got to be able to tag the starters. I'm just looking forward to some really great baseball and hoping obviously I want to see another Yankees run to a championship, but it's so I'm just glad that we're getting another Boston New York series. So two in New York. It's gonna be two really good intense games. Next, the other series in the AL is Cleveland versus Houston, and right now that series is 0-2 going 0-2 for Houston's up 2-0, and it's going back to Cleveland. It's Cleveland definitely plays well at home, so they are in a decent position to be able to tie this thing up. But man, Houston is such a potent lineup. They're coming on. They won the championship in 2016, I believe. Yeah, 2016. So I mean, Houston is one of the best teams in baseball, so they could absolutely end this thing in three. But Cleveland has. It's just sometimes you run into those juggernaut teams like Houston where there's you're playing close to your best, but still these guys are so talented across the board that it's just too much to be able to overcome in that season. But it's gonna be some good interesting games in Cleveland. The crowd is always really really intense and into it, so atmosphere is gonna be in Cleveland's favor. They can't let Houston get out in front early and shut down the crowd. They gotta make sure that they produce and they attack Houston's pitchers, and it's just I want to see this series go back to Houston. 5 games, because it's just the more great playoff baseball we get to see, the better it is, and it's like 165 games to build up to it. That's why it's such a big deal, and these games mean so much, because just when you're playing 165 games, sometimes you get into we got this many more, so it's okay, but. Once you get in the playoffs, you got to switch to every out matters, every strike counts. So it's just a different ball game in the playoffs. I love it. Moving over to the NL, the series is now over. Milwaukee versus Colorado just went. The game 3 went down this afternoon, and Milwaukee shut them out. Excuse me. And I don't know. I guess it's kind of bittersweet because. Definitely, Milwaukee's the type of team that I like to root for and cheer for to see them get there. Team hasn't won in a long time, if ever. They got some long tenured guys that have been really working for a long time to try to get to a World Series. So Milwaukee's definitely a team that I would like to cheer for. But as a kid, I don't know. I just loved the Colorado Rockies logo. I always wanted a fitted Colorado Rockies cap with the black cap with the. I don't know. I just loved the contrast of the colors of the dark purple and the black and the white. It was just I just thought it was a really cool logo, and I always wanted that. I was obsessed as a kid with owning one of the fitted baseball hats. All I could afford until I was an adult was the snapbacks, but it was but man, that I always had a little. The Colorado Rockies and Oakland were the other teams that I cheered for because I liked the logo, and I liked the hat that they were selling. I love that green Oakland A's hat with the fitted cap with the logo on it. So, so that's why it's bittersweet. I mean, I wanted Colorado to win, but I'm definitely not upset that Milwaukee's going on. They're a great team. Christian Yelich, it looks like he's going to be, MVP. So it's like they got a really good story going. They got a good team, and between between Milwaukee, Atlanta, and the Dodgers. I used to cheer for Atlanta also as a kid. They were my NL team. The Yankees were my AL team. So I still have a soft spot for Atlanta. But it's just Milwaukee's just they haven't won. I don't think they've won ever. So it'd be nice to see them go on a run and get to the World Series. And we'll see if they play the Yankees to whether I want them to win or not. And the last series of the playoffs. Game's going on right now as of press time. Atlanta was winning 6-5, but that's Atlanta versus the Dodgers, and Dodgers are up 2-0. It's back in It's back in Atlanta tonight, and I checked right before I started the video, and it was 6-5 Atlanta. And before that, it was 5-4 Dodgers. So Atlanta just came back, and I really wanted to. It's tough. Playoff baseball when it comes around, so it's like I want to be watching it, but at the same time, it's like thinking about my schedule. It's like I didn't really know when I'd be able to have a chance to get this video in with everything that's going on, so kind of had to sacrifice. But it's hopefully, hopefully it'll still be going on by the time I'm done. But it's that's another really good. That's a tough series for Atlanta to run into. You have a great year. You have first in the division, get the playoffs, and then you run smack dab into a juggernaut like the Dodgers. They have lots of great players. Their pitching staff is just a murder. It can be a murderer's row sometimes when they're on. So Dodgers are a tough out. It's no surprise they're up 2-0. But Atlanta's a gritty team. They're fighting. So we'll see what if they can take it to Game 4 and then send it back to LA for Game 5. But baseball playoff. One of those teams is going to win the World Series and be the next World Series champs. And I just love baseball playoffs, and especially when my teams are in it. The Yankees, and it's just baseball playoffs are just a different beast. Even if you don't like baseball and you think it's boring, definitely I would real highly encourage to give baseball playoffs a chance. Pick a team and root for them, because once you get into that, once you're connected to a team, you're kind of living and dying with them. So it's like you really get to understand why every out and every strike counts. It's just I just love playoff baseball, and can't get enough of it when it's on. But moving on to, might as well move into some CFL Riders talk, because that tomorrow afternoon, Thanksgiving, awesome that they got a game scheduled for the afternoon, so just perfect. We can go to the game in the afternoon and be home around supper. And it's it is obviously it's getting down to the nitty gritty in the CFL. The division races are heating up. Playoff races are getting crazy, especially in the West, like with BC rebounding and putting themselves right in the conversation. It is just an absolute gauntlet right now, and Riders cannot afford any steps back. They got to keep pushing forward with all cylinders. And it's gonna. I mean, Edmonton coming in. They know they need to win as well. So it is gonna be a tough game tomorrow. And I can't wait. Excuse me. I love those big game atmospheres, and I will definitely be bringing the noise. So it's gonna be an awesome game. But it's Riders really came through huge in like the middle to the first of the last third part of the season. Sweeping the Labor Day and Banjo Bowl series with the Bombers was so huge. Gives us a season series, meaning Winnipeg has to finish one game ahead of us, can't finish tied with us. And and those two games in the West really kind of kept us in there, and to be in the position right now in the driver's seat for hosting the West semifinals. So, Riders really, after their struggles early on into the early start of the middle, excuse me, they really turned it around and obviously saved the season, but allowed them to be in a position to have some of the, at least some part of the playoffs run through Mosaic. So really hats off to them for stepping up, making the adjustments, and pushing forward to get better. And defense and special teams have just been lights out. I mean, there have been times where, to me, I've just had total confidence in our defense and special teams every game. Even I forget the game it was where they got lit up for 500 yards. It did not seem like we the defense got lit that bad. It's just because for the most part, defense plays great. We were definitely susceptible to the big play. Leaving a big hole open for the running back to have a big gain, or a breakdown in coverage, allowing our receiver to go free. So our defense can be susceptible to the big game. But man, for the most part, our defense and special teams are lights out, and they are the reason why we've been able to stay in the playoff picture and be in a position to host a playoff game. Because with our offense could not be able to work through the struggles and get themselves to moving forward like they have if the defense and special teams wasn't playing so good. So they've really kept the team afloat, kept the team rocking and rolling. And when the offense is clicking, there's just not a team that can touch us, because our defense and special teams just completely crushes any kind of momentum and any kind of advantage they have in field position and stuff like that. It's just been a huge thing, and gotta highlight some members. I should have wrote down every single member of the defense and special teams, but I'm just gonna highlight a few specific members, just just to throw some love to some specific players and not just generally talk about it. But Big Willie style, Willie Jefferson, man, that guy is just a beast all over, just shutting down running plays, crushing quarterbacks for sacks. It's just always hurrying, always knocking down passes. And that big touchdown in the Banjo Bowl. I just, so much love for Willie Jefferson. Love that he's a rider. Love that he's playing great, and I can't wait, to see him keep rolling through the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs. He's just one of the best defensive linemen of the year for sure in the CFL. And speaking of one of the best defensive linemen, Charleston Hughes, still beasting it out. Had to obviously slow down sack totals a little. Couldn't keep up that ridiculous pace because, offenses are going to focus on shutting him down and double teaming him and things like that. But, he double teams still means something. They still take guys away from other parts. And, with guys like Willie Jefferson stepping up, it's just, some of these offenses, just can't compete. They can't keep up with it. So, Hughes is still a huge part of our defensive attack, and it's it's so awesome to have him on our team instead of against. It's but that's big. They're those two are kind of like the heart and soul of the defense, and it's just it seems like the defense beats through them when they're playing great. The rest of the defense plays great. When they're a little bit off, defense is a little bit off. So, need Willie and Charleston to be at the top of their game for the rest of the season because there's nothing but big games left. Purifoy and Aguavin in the secondary safety, helping lock down coverage. Just like, man, some of the big interceptions, pick sixes that we've had this year are just like, it's what it is, the things that we've been missing in previous years that have kept us from hosting playoff games and getting into the elite conversation. So I'm just loving to see the progression and these guys step up and make the big plays and to keep rolling and moving forward. And it's just, great defensive football is one of the most beautiful things to watch, and the Riders are really providing us many moments of that in this season. So it's just, I can't say enough good things about our defense, and really, I just love watching them, do their thing and smash out these other offenses. And some special teams highlights. Man, start with the man himself, the Dreadlot, Brett Lawther. It's a far cry from forgetting to write down his name at the season preview and completely having a mind blank about it. But with him crushing these kicks, 56-yarder, game on the line, boom, nails it. The accuracy he's had in clutch situations and his accuracy from long distances they've been a big reason why our offense has been able to struggle and work through it, because it puts points on the board. It doesn't, it changes field position. So it's, with the way Brett Lawther has been contributing, he needed a nickname, and I wanted to kind of try and play off his name, and I was right at the end, and when I kind of thought of the Dreadlot, so maybe not the best, but that's what I'm going with. So, but the man is money, and hopefully he's a rider for a long time. It's like, I'm not sure what's going on with Krapina, what his injury situation is, but that's the thing about competition and pro sports and athletics and injuries. It's like if you open the door to like every position is an opportunity, and if you step back from a position, somebody else has to fill in and get that opportunity, and it's. In competition in professional sports, it's about who is producing the most results out of that. So it's if somebody else is, you have to go with that route. Nobody should ever lose their job to injury, but at the same time, it's like if somebody is producing in that opportunity they've earned, then sometimes you just have to roll with it, and then the roles reverse, and all of a sudden the guy that was originally there is in the position to show everyone that, hey, remember my name. So it's it'll be interesting, but it's maybe something we don't have to worry about, but it's definitely down the road. Really appreciating Brett Lawther's contributions to this season, and with all the close, tight games that are coming up, we are definitely going to need him to keep being locked in. So, hopefully the Dreadlot is locked, loaded, and ready to unleash the fury. And also want to highlight because I just thought it was hilarious when everyone was showing love to Lothar and Josh Bartel was having fun with it, saying, there's a guy that holds the snap too, and a guy that has to fire in a frozen rope to be able to snap the ball there. So, there's other you guys can share some of this praise. I thought that was pretty fun. I thought that was pretty funny. So but I mean, he's right. I know he was just having fun and making light of it, but he's right. Like you have every field goal needs a good hold. If you don't get that good hold, the field goal is not going to be good. So Bartel has been just lights out on making those holds and giving Lothar the best opportunity to kick the field goals. Hughes has been just firing those snaps in there, just bang, bang, and it's just that you need a great snap. If your snap is off, or if your holder's always having to reach up and over and up and down everywhere, every which way, it's like he's not going to be able to get the best hold. So I mean, I know he's having fun, but all three guys and the rest of the special teams unit deserve all the credit in the world for the amazing job that they've done, and just in making our units, our defensive and special teams units, game changers, which is really helped us get some more wins this season. And obviously, now we got to mention, last but not least, the returners, man. Thigpen and Swerve, Kyran Moore. It's like those two are legitimate game changers. I mean, a great special teams is also one of the most beautiful things to watch in football. And it's just for so long we had garbage special teams, never seeing any return touchdowns. So the fact that we've got multiple this season is just like, excuse me. Craig Dickinson has just done an unbelievable job with the special teams units this year, and I'm hoping that Swerve, Kyran Swerve Moore can be like that can turn him into like a Gizmo reputation, and it's like obviously big pressure, big shoes to fill. Hey, you're gonna be maybe you'll be like one of the most legendary kick returners in the history of the game. But I mean, it's like he's got the elements are there. He's got the cool nickname. He's got the talent. He's put the return touchdowns on the board. So it's like, man, you never know what somebody's capable of. And I'm hoping that. Great things are in store for Swerve, but man, he started out great. Has been a game changer. Thigpen getting figgy with it. It's like, man, it is. I just love our special teams right now and our defense, and it's just like it is just such a huge weapon to have two guys back there that can have a chance to take it to the house every time. A legitimate chance, not just any given Sunday chance, but a legitimate. These guys are dangerous threats, and if you let them have any kind of a lane, they're gone. So it's nice to be able to say that about the Riders' special teams. And got to talk about the offense. While they've definitely struggled, and they've improved, and then the next game they've struggled sometimes, but overall, I think they've taken big steps forward. And especially the O line, like in their protection, they're giving Claros time. It's just, his accuracy is just a touch off sometimes. I mean, it's right there, but that's what we do. We don't need right there. We need him to hit it on the money, but he's starting to be more consistent. The O-line is just like you're starting to see way more truck holes opened up for these running backs to run through, and it's like we've had some big gains, some really great, some really highly effective running plays. So offensive line is stepping up, and Trey Mason just seems to be getting better every time he touches the ball. I mean, just his cuts and his spins, and just when you think he's only going to get 2 yards and he gets 7 or 8, or he breaks it for 15 or 20, it's like what a great weapon to have. And it's like when a guy's coming in from the NFL, you're hoping to see some kind of talent potential reach in the CFL, and a lot of times we've seen guys come from the NFL not be able to adjust, but Trey Mason seems to be able to make that adjustment and is really being a big time positive contributor to our team. So it's been a great thing to watch for the offense, and it's been his play has been one of the reasons the offense has been able to take a step forward and improve. And wide receivers, we've had some tough drops, but we've had way more big catches and big gains than drops. So, this drop, some of the drops have come at high profile times, so they kind of stand out a little bit more than they might have in other cases. But man, our wide receivers are solid and locked down. Williams Lambert is going to be a star for us, and you're going to be a star in this league. He to me is just he has got star written all over him, and it's but I mean he's still growing in his talent and his career, and like he's had some frustrating drops, and you can tell. I mean, frustrating not just for fans, but you can tell he's frustrated that he dropped it. So, but I think in the next few years he's going to be a big time star in this league for us, and if we're gonna do anything if we're going to be able to host any kind of playoff game or make some noise in the playoffs, we're going to need him to be a big contributor. So, looking for Williams Lambert to kind of make his mark as we're coming down into this tough stretch of games. And, Collaros, I am just total confidence in Collaros. He's had a little bit of accuracy issues, but he has the potential to hook up for the big plays. He's made some great throws. Last game he looked really good passing. So hopefully he can keep that momentum rolling and keep that consistency in his game, because we're only going as far as Zach Collaros takes us, or if Bridge has to come in, Brandon Bridge, because I'm not there's no just forget it. Just be confident, rock and roll. Like Collaros, I am 100% confident behind him. And if for whatever reason Bridge has to come in, I'm 100% confident in him. Both guys have the talent, but Collaros is the man. He's rocking and rolling. Everybody's behind him, including Bridge. So it's I've seen the improvements in the offense, and I think that I'm excited for tomorrow. I think that we're going to put an entire team effort together and really establish a dominant position in the West with a win over Edmonton. So, and it's almost a playoff game versus Edmonton, because this game is pretty much the difference between us being in the driver's seat for the rest of the season or being in the hot seat. Because we win this game, we're up 3 games on both. Excuse me. We win this game, we go up 3 on both Edmonton and Winnipeg, who are chasing us. So that means they have to finish 1 game ahead of us, can't finish tied. That is so huge, and that would almost lock in our home playoff game. Obviously not mathematically, but excuse me, it would 99% chance. So this is a huge game. We can't let this opportunity slip away. We have to lock this win in there and get the job done at home versus Edmonton. This is not in Edmonton. This is in Mosaic. This is in Regina. This is our house. It's time to defend our turf. So it's a must win. To me it's a must win game tomorrow, because it's the difference between being in the driver's seat and being in the hot seat. And, I'm really hoping that Montreal does us a favor tomorrow and drops a loss on Calgary, because if we win this game and Montreal takes out Calgary beforehand, man, obviously hosting the Western Final and finishing first is probably not something we should be focusing on, because that's a pretty good long shot. But man, if Montreal steps up and knocks Calgary off, all bets are off, and the game is totally changed. So Johnny Manziel, it was great to see him play good last week against the Riders. Coming into that game, I was really I was hoping for a best case scenario. Johnny looks good, but Riders still win. That's exactly what happened. I'm glad he threw his first 2 touchdowns against us. That's the biggest audience he could possibly have for the regular season, to see him do it. The throws were good. They weren't flukes. They were nice. They were good throws, good decisions. He looked good throughout the game. It's just, people expect him to just walk on the field and be able to dominate. It's like, that's not realistic, but I see the improvement. And some of the negative comments people make about him not being ready or not looking like he's ready to play in the CFL are just ridiculous, man. He looks like a guy that's pretty close to putting things together, and he just needs more game experience. So I'm looking forward to these last 3 or 4 games for him to get more game experience, and hopefully put together a string of wins here down the stretch to help out the Riders, and at the same time get some confidence in his game with his teammates, with the fans, and just I think it's I have a lot of optimism for the situation with Johnny Manziel and Montreal. So I'm hoping that they have a good finish to the season, and I'm really hoping that they do us a favor and knock Calgary off tomorrow. And but the crossover, man, who takes the crossover is going to be really interesting because all four teams in the West that are not Calgary are in the conversation for it. I mean, if the Riders stink up their next two games, BC Edmonton win, Winnipeg, they're right. We're all right together. So it's like as good of a position as the Riders are in right now, it could be gone just like that. So the Riders got to take care of business tomorrow because this crossover, I mean, it is anybody's chance at this point. So I mean, it's just and that's what I love about the CFL. I mean, excuse me. Some people say, "Oh, 8 teams, like it's a bad thing." Man, it creates rivalries. It creates these tough matchups coming down the stretch where it's like everybody's got to play each other, and all these games mean so much, and it's just every the last 3 or 4 weeks leading up to the playoffs are basically playoffs because of positioning and how important how important wins are with how good every team is in the West and the crossover and things like that. So I just love that the races are all so close and that this is that that there's a lot of excitement and excitement for these games. There was the CFL, to me, I have a lot of optimism for it, but there have been some bad stories this year, like the one out of Winnipeg about their stadium. It's just like I just feel so bad. Like, that fan base deserves they do not deserve that. I mean, I know the rivalry, but they do not deserve the problems that stadium has had. And it really just breaks my heart that they got this new stadium and they didn't put the best version of it out there, I guess. It's just, but hopefully things get, worked out and, it's maybe people pushing more doom and gloom than actually is. But, we just, I don't know. That's why I always say we got to be CFL fans first at this day and age, and Rider fans second. It's like we can't laugh at teams for struggles. We can't, like this. I still see Rider fans laughing at Toronto for low attendance. It's like, oh yeah, ha ha. Well, a team might be, like a team can't get fans in one of the biggest media markets in the world. That's a bad thing. Advertisers knowing their product will be seen in one of the biggest media markets in the world. That is one of the reasons why they advertise in the CFL. That goes away. A lot of advertising goes away. So people need to wake up and pull their heads out of their asses sometimes, because it's like, I mean, laughing at other teams' struggles. That's not. I mean, shouldn't be doing that anyways. But that is something that can't go on in the CFL right now, because we gotta look at it as a family, lift each other up, and make the game and the league as strong as possible. Because it's like it provides such great high quality entertainment for not just for sports fans. Like, it's a family thing. I mean, unfortunately, with the way society and things are, I mean, with this new stadiums, like it's almost starting to price out families at a certain level. But it's if we work together to keep our league the way the grassroots family league that it is, then it will the prices will be capped and maybe come down once things are paid for and level off, or we'll just help each other out to keep this league thriving and building. But it's just I just look at the exciting action and and then I look at some of the negative stories, and it's just I would lie and say if there's not a little bit of butterflies, a little bit of worry in the back of my mind. But it's we just can't not worry about that. Do what we gotta do to help each other, and just appreciate and watch these awesome entertaining games. And coming to the Riders Final Four games is just like, this is what I mean about with the 9 teams, God, 8 teams, McFly, but the 9 teams, and but that's why I like is Riders Final Four games coming down the stretch: Edmonton, Winnipeg, Calgary, BC. Like, every single Western team, we're all in the conversation for playoffs. Every single game means so much, if win or lose. It's just like, this is why I love the CFL, and just why why it's such an exciting league, man. And it's going to be an awesome final stretch for the Riders. And clearly, by the teams that I just mentioned, Riders basically got to try and go 4-0 because, like if they let any of these teams back in, I mean, it is big trouble. I mean, if we lose to Winnipeg's right on our heels, and they beat us in that game, bang, we're tied. And we would be ahead of Winnipeg, but still 2 games left. And if we lost 2 in a row, we'd be reeling. That's momentum. So gotta win this game tomorrow. And it's not a thing of putting too much pressure on yourselves. Just got to get it done. All the elements. We're at home. This is our stadium. Time to defend our turf. And just talk about the Eastern races. Obviously only a race for the top 2 spots because there's going to be a crossover. But man, it's close. Ottawa is leading, but Hamilton 1 game behind them. And you got next week. Next week, Ottawa and Edmonton, Hamilton and Toronto. Then after that, it's back-to-back Ottawa and Hamilton. Like, man, obviously these 3 games are going to decide the Eastern Championship. So it's whoever finishes first. And so it's no matter what, in the West it's going to be exciting and intense. In the East, like these games with with Ottawa and Hamilton are going to be off the hook intense. So it's just, man, we are entering a very exciting, fun time in the CFL. I can't wait to sit back and watch all the games. That's one of the decent things about living in Canada, having the weather force you inside is, you don't feel so bad about sitting on the couch and watching some of these games and not being outside. But it's obviously still lots of nature and stuff to enjoy outside in fall and winter and stuff. But most of the time it's easy to sit inside and watch some sports and things like that. But it's gonna be real easy with how exciting these CFL games are gonna be down the stretch. So. Then we got the Grey Cup in Edmonton. Man, I'm excited right now. Everything I hear about it, they're trying to make this a big party. It's like, I think people in Canada need to realize, even if you don't like football, go to the city the Grey Cup is and have a good time, man. Like the energy and the atmosphere and just the crowds of people that descend upon the Grey Cup city. Excuse me. It's like, it is just so much fun. Like it's just such a fun party. Everybody's in a party mood. I mean, and these are like generations of people that have been coming for like decades to the Grey Cups to party, and they know how to party. They know how to create a great fellowship. They know how to make everyone have fun, and it is just such a fun, good time. Lots of great bands and playing at the venues. The venues are all super fun to go there and party with everybody and have a great time. It's just. The Grey Cup week is so much fun. Like when we had it here in Regina, one of the best weeks I've had in my life. Just so much fun. And I mean, it's just whatever. But when you're with like-minded people that are all anyone wants to do is just have positive, good energy, have fun, jump around, sing, dance, have good times, chant. It's just such a fun thing. Even if you don't like football, you get infected with the atmosphere, and you start kind of, like chanting. You don't know what you're chanting about and singing the songs. You don't know what you're singing about. But it's just so much fun. And, and this year Edmonton is pulling out all the stops to create a big party. Alessia Cara is going to be the halftime show. Great choice for that. I mean, she's an act I think all generations should be able to appreciate. Her music is just so great. Her voice is incredible. And she's an act that will bring in the younger viewers. Like, the younger viewers will tune into the halftime show to see her performance. And the older viewers that are watching the Grey Cup show, they're definitely not going to be sitting there going, oh, this girl sucks, she can't sing. So really looking forward to the Grey Cup and the halftime show and just celebration of, one of the best things to come out of Canada, the CFL, baby. Excuse me. But okay, that brings us to the talk. Done with the talk about CFL. And moving into NHL season preview. Just got started this week. All my drafts are in the books, done. My fantasy team has been locked in. Did a video about that last week. Did our draft for the hockey pool. Very happy with that team as well. So we're ready to go now. It's just basically watch the games and hopefully things work out in my favor. But I think it's going to be a great season. Already 2 or 3 games into it, and man, with how the games have gone, the results, and I think it's going to be an awesome season. Like but to me the surprise story of the season so far, Jonathan Toews, like holy shit, just a house of fire coming to I think he scored like 3 or 4 goals at this point. He's like probably just as many assists. Like wow, like Jonathan Toews has come out of has a house of fire to say like no, I am still one of the premier players in this league, and do not forget about Jonathan Toews, man. That is to me is one of the most exciting storylines. Jonathan Toews stepping up and playing so well. So it's but across the board, it's like young players have been scoring. Elias Pettersson, man, this guy's starting out on fire. Like he was people had faith in him drafted in our draft, and he went pretty. He did not go at the end in our hockey pool draft either. But man, he living up to the hype already. I think he's got 2 or 3 goals, 2 or 3 assists. So it's going to be an exciting, good year. And Jets started off 1-1. Yeah, hey, it is. They're not going to win them all, but. I'm really excited for this year for the Jets. I think that I mean, sometimes when teams have a great year, it's an aberration. It's just some guys got hot, played above their heads, whatever. Excuse me, but that is definitely not the Jets. This team was built through draft picks, through smart trading, through signing, through developing players, through just to bringing in key veterans to play certain roles. And it's like, man, this team has been built the right way. Our young players that we have are legitimately skilled. They have legitimate chances to play in the upper echelon of the league. And it's just we have a great mix of veterans to be able to lead them and to be there to be the standard that people can look at in those tough moments and those pressure moments. And it's just that's why the Jets were able to have the run they did last year, and I know that's why they're going to be able to repeat the success that they had. And it's not just going to be a 1-year wonder. And it's like I said, they have a great mix of young talent and veterans, and that's what you need. You can't just have all veterans, you can't just have all young. You got to have that mix because it's such a long grind of a season, and the playoffs are just such a crazy, just a different beast altogether that you just need that mix. And I think the Jets have it. And really what it comes down to, the biggest key to not regressing for me is Connor Hellebuyck. If he regresses, the Jets are going to regress as a team. But if he is able to play at the high level that he played at last year, which I think he absolutely will, then I think the Jets will be right where they were last year, if not in a better position. But I just I think that I think Connor on the brain, but I think Connor Hellebuyck is a legitimately great player, and I think he's going to be legitimately great for years to come, including this one. So I'm expecting the same great things from the Jets this year as we saw last year. We just the one thing that I noticed, obviously I'm not a coach or anything like that, but through my years of trying to get an edge and reading stats for betting and stuff like that and fantasy and things. Face-off percentage has been the one thing. When the face-off percentage is bad, the Jets are bad. When face-off percentage has been great, the Jets have been great. So lock down the face-offs, make sure that face-off percentage stays high, and as long as Connor plays at his level that he can, we're gonna be in a great position. The same great position that we were last year, but this time we'll have more experience and be more ready for not only a run in the playoffs, but to go further than we did last year. And one loss. Lost to Dallas. Obviously, you'd like to see them, start out putting a few wins together. But one loss is no big deal, as long as you don't let them pile up. So I'm confident the Jets are going to be able to respond with a W here. But that's the thing. The great teams don't let losses stack up. Just whatever. It's one loss. Let it go. Remember what. be mindful of the things that you did to create that loss and make sure that you rectify them for the next game. So I'm really looking forward to the Jets season. I think they're going to be one of the top teams in the league. And so just to, I mean, I'm not going to go over and talk about every single team in the league. That would be a very long video. But I'm just going to talk about I'm just going to list last year's playoff teams. And then I'm going to give my projections to who I think will be the playoff teams this year. So last year our playoff teams was I'm just going to go for the numbers will be the seeds that they were. So it was 1 Tampa, 2 Boston, I believe. I think I had 3 Washington, 4 Pittsburgh, 5 Philly, 6 Columbus, 7 Toronto, 8 Jersey. So those were the playoff teams last year. And for this year, I think that I think the first number 1 position, I see Tampa finishing first again. They just have such a highly skilled team, defense, offense, goalie. Like they are just definitely one of the best teams in the league. I don't think they regressed in the offseason. So, excuse me. I think it's going to be a good. I think it'll be another repeat in as number 1 in the East for Tampa. I think the champs, Washington, I think they're going to have another good year. I think they'll finish second behind Tampa Bay. With the pressure and that monkey off of Ovechkin's back, he's got his cup. He's got his legacy would have been solidified no matter what, but now it's on another level with his Stanley Cup. So, I think that, I just think they're still a great team, even though they don't have Barry Trotz. I'm not sure how much of an effect that will have. I mean, it's they still have most of the same team together, so I picked them as second. I think that effect will come into more in the playoffs because they've been able to have great regular seasons before, but the playoffs is where they were never able to turn the regular season success into playoff success. So I think the coaching struggles will show up more in the playoffs if they have them, but I think for the regular season they'll stay the same great team that they've been. And number 3, I think Pittsburgh. I think they're. I mean, it's just somehow every year they're able to just stay at that high clip and just never regress. And I think this year will be no different. Eventually, it's going to happen, but don't think this is a year. I think they have a good enough team around them to stay at the top, near the top of the East. I think Toronto is going to finish number 4. I think they're going to put it together and be a great team and really finish not just get into the playoffs in the last spot, but actually get in there at a higher position and maybe start the series at home. So it's they're definitely going to need to get goaltending figured out. As just today they just beat Chicago 7-6. So I mean that's kind of goaltending is not going to cut it throughout the whole season. So they're going to need to shore up their defense and goaltending. But obviously they got the talent to compete in a shootout with and to goal for goal with any team. So it's they're going to be a fun team to watch, and I think they'll be finish as one of the higher seeds in the East. 5th seed I think is going to be New Jersey. I think that their young team is going to take another step forward this year, finish a little bit higher than they did last year. Looks like Keith Kincaid maybe moving out in front as a starter. So he's young. He's ready, wanting an opportunity. So if he plays a little bit better, I think New Jersey could finish in the middle of the pack, conceivably towards the higher end if their offense and offensive production really shows up. I think 6 is going to go to Columbus. They've really built a solid foundation there to keep churning out success, and I think it's going to be no different this year. I don't think they have a good enough team to really push for one of the top spots, but definitely think they're going to be in the playoffs and as not just getting in, but kind of around the 5 or 6 spot. 7, I think, is going to be a new playoff team from last year. I think Carolina and their young team is going to take a step forward. They got some really good, young, talented players. They got some good defensemen. To me, the only question is goaltending. If their goaltending shows up and gives them some big saves and big wins, then I think they're going to make the playoffs. And I do think that they will get the goaltending they need to get into the playoffs. So I have Carolina as the 7th seed this year. And getting into the 8th seed, another new team and another team that I think the young stars are going to help them take that step forward. And Buffalo. I see Buffalo finally breaking their playoff drought and getting in as the 8th seed. I think Jack Eichel, is a competitive player. Wants to, he has talent. He wants to be mentioned in the conversations with the McDavids and the Matthews and the Laines and the Crosbys, Ovechkins. I think he wants that. So I think. I believe I think and Buffalo's made some good trades to bring in some good players and things like that. So it's I think Buffalo's going to put it together, and I'd probably be an exciting end of the season, but I think Buffalo's going to end up in that 8th seed. So that's my 8 playoff teams. Just quickly: 1 Tampa, 2 Washington, 3 Pittsburgh, 4 Toronto, 5 Jersey, 6 Columbus, 7 Carolina, 8 Buffalo. So that's my Eastern playoff teams projected. My Western teams I'm projecting for the playoffs. I think number 1 in the West is going to go to Dallas. I think that they're going to be a lot healthier this year. And with that team healthy, man, they are dangerous. So I just think they're one of those teams, offense, defense, goaltending, they have it all. And I think they'll be able to put it together on another level than they have been just because of injuries. They've had bad luck with injuries last few years. So I see Dallas finishing as number 1 in the West. And they're a very exciting team to watch. So hopefully they do stay healthy and keep producing at the level that they can. Number 2 in the West, I think, is going to my Jets. I think the Jets are, I don't want to go, I don't want to be that homer. And Jets are going to be number 1 and do everything. But I really do, I think the Jets are going to be fighting for that number 1 spot and just probably settle in at the 2nd spot in the West. Basically where they finished last year. So it's. But the obviously the talent and the potential is there for us to procure that number 1 seed. That's what I'm hoping. With the advantage we have of our home crowd, it's like being in the driver's seat as the number 1 would be just so huge for the playoffs. So I'm hoping the Jets can take that step. But as far as projecting things, I think it's going to be Dallas. Or Dallas 1, Winnipeg 2. In the 3rd seed, I think Nashville is going to be right there again. Dallas, Winnipeg, Nashville. I think they're the cream of the crop of the Western Division, and that's how I think they're going to be finishing. I think the Jets are. Nashville is not. I think they're kind of. I think their window might be a little bit not as open as the Jets. Still not closed. Anywhere to being closed, absolutely. But I believe the Jets are going to be a better team than Nashville, and we'll finish a little bit ahead of them. But Nashville's still one of the great teams, and. Still one of the great teams, and they'll definitely be finishing right there with Jets and Stars. But I got Nashville at 3rd. And 4th, I got Anaheim. I think that they've got a really good team together. They've got some really talented young players that I think are ready to put things together. And Anaheim's one of those teams where they always seem to have really good defense, even when they're bad. So it's. And I think this, they started off hot this year, and just with looking at their team and looking at things, I don't think it's a fluky start. I think they'll be able to. I think they're going to turn this into a decent season, and a decent season, 4th overall. That'd probably be considered more than a decent season. But I see Anaheim finishing, not right with the top 3, but in that top of that next to middle pack. 5th seed, I see Edmonton putting things together and getting into the playoffs. I think that you just don't see everything coming together the way you'd need it to for me to say that they're gonna finish as one of the top 4 seeds. But I think they're gonna. I would honestly, if they missed the playoffs, what an absolute disaster that would be. So, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they're gonna put things together and play well enough to get that 5th seed. So. That's really, with the talent they have, they should be in the conversation for one of the top ones. But it's, considering where they've come from, I think 5th seed. I think a lot of Oilers fans would take the 5th seed. 6th seed, I think it's going to be going to St. Louis. That would be a new playoff team from last year. I think St. Louis, also Anaheim would be new, and Edmonton as well. But I think St. Louis just has a lot of talent, and I think they'll be a little bit healthier than they have been in previous years. So I think that they're going to be able to put things together and get into the playoffs. Because they're one other team where when they're healthy, they got offense, defense, and goaltending. So it's just if they can stay healthy and put it together, they are a very dangerous team. But I see them making the playoffs and finishing probably in that 5 or 6 spot. Next, in the 7th seed, I see Colorado settling in there. Colorado's such a question mark. It's like they've got lots of talent, but they've been bad before with talent, but at times they look really really good. So it's like I don't know. You just never know what to expect with Colorado. Colorado to me is one of the teams that would benefit with a trade. With a big splash acquisition at the trade deadline, it's bringing in one of those players that's going to contribute now and not having to give up players that contribute right now. And because I think they're just that. I think they're a big splash type player away from getting themselves into the upper echelon of the West. But I do think they're a playoff team. I think they're good enough. So I think I kind of see them settling in that 7 or 8 spot. I'm picking the 7th spot because I think they'll do more than just kind of squeak in there, but not by more than a little bit much, not by more than much, not by more than much. That doesn't make sense. Not by much. How about that? Okay, and last in the 8th spot, I see Vegas sliding in at 8. Definitely do not see them replicating the season they did last year. However, I don't see them following totally out of the playoffs and not making it. But I just think it'll be a very, very big contrast to where last year they were one of the top dominant teams coming into it. This year they're going to squeak in as one of the underdog bottom teams. But it'll be good. I mean, I'm glad the Vegas fans got to experience that playoff run right off the bat. Build a connection, build an emotional connection with the team, and having the team not regress to being out of the playoffs the next year would be another big thing to let the fans know that this wasn't just a one-year wonder, that they're actually a team that can compete year to year, even if maybe they didn't finish near the top, but still making the playoffs is you got to give yourself a chance. You have to give yourself that opportunity, like I talked earlier, and I think Vegas will put themselves in that opportunity, but I think it's going to be a fight, and I think they'll sneak in there in that last spot. But it's going to be I think it's going to be a really fun, good season because obviously there's tons of good teams that I did not mention in the playoffs, so it'll be interesting to see how things shake down and how close I come to how things actually play out. So. But just to go over the West again, I have quickly 1 Dallas, 2 Winnipeg, 3 Nashville, 4 Anaheim, 5 Edmonton, 6 St. Louis, 7 Colorado, 8 Vegas. So those are my projected playoff teams. And for the Stanley Cup, I see the Stanley Cup being my Winnipeg Jets versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the Stanley Cup champions, the Jets. I think the Jets are going to do it. I think this is the year that like Wheeler's playing great close to prime. Bufflin's on the tail end, definitely at the tail end of his prime. Maybe a year or two out of it, but he's still playing at a high level. But man, our young guys are just. I think our young guys are ready to step up and carry this team into a very long playoff run. And if we can get to the Stanley Cup Finals, I think we're going to lock it down and win it. And but I think Pittsburgh, after seeing Washington's success, is going to be a little bit envious and jealous and want to kind of get themselves back in the conversation. So I think they'll be really motivated to work through the playoffs. And Winnipeg, Pittsburgh has been great games in the regular season, and I think it would be an amazing Stanley Cup final. So that's what I'm hoping for: Winnipeg versus Pittsburgh, and the Jets finally get the job done and deliver something to Winnipeg that Winnipeggers will just never ever forget, and Jets fans will be appreciative of everybody involved in that for eternity. So it's the great things await you guys if you're able to lock it down. But so that's how I see things shaking down, and just to go through the awards, who I think are going to. Who I think are going to win the all the I didn't write down all the NHL awards, just the just wrote down 7 of them. Rocket Richard. I think Patrick Laine is going to win, score the most goals this year. Like, he is just a sniper when he's shooting that puck. And I think that, with the Jets being a better team and taking a step forward and playing at the top level, I think he's just going to keep firing him in there. And I believe he's going to lock down that Rocket Richard trophy this year. And Hart Trophy last year, Taylor Hall. I think this year Jamie Benn is going to. I think Jamie Benn's going to win the Hart. I think he's going to be a big reason why Dallas finishes first in the West and put himself in a position to be voted first for the Hart Trophy. Vezina last year, Pekka Rinne won it. And he just finished first over Connor Hellebuyck, and I think this is Connor's year. I think that he's going to just be, like I said, like, he's basically the reason that the Jets either go forward or move back. So, and I think he's going to be the reason that the Jets move forward, and he's going to win that Vezina that he probably should have won last year. But Pekka Rinne had a great year too, so can't really fight that. But I think it's time for my boy Connor to win that Vezina this year. Calder Trophy, last year Barzal won it, and I think this year Elias Pettersson, it's going to be all him, especially if he keeps up at anything close to the pace that he started at. But I mean, he was a great player, he was a great, highly touted player coming in, lots of potential, and he's delivering on it right off the bat, so I think it's going to be a year-long thing, and that he's going to walk away with the Calder. Norris the last year it was Hedman, and I think there's going to be a repeat back to back for another one for Victor Hedman. The guy is just so great defensively, offensively. He's just, he is one of the big reasons why Tampa Bay is one of the best teams in the league, and why Vasilevsky's one of the best goalies, and why guys are able to keep scoring offensively. So I think it's gonna. I don't think Victor Hedman's taking a step back. I think he's gonna put a very firm hold on the Norris Trophy by winning another one. Selke this year. I think last year was Kopitar, and this year, I think it's gonna go to Jonathan Toews. I think his big resurgence this year is gonna end with. I don't think it'll end with playoffs for Chicago, but I think it's going to end with a Selke for Taves, which would be a great accomplishment for him. But it's I'm loving watching Taves in this story, and him going off to start the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how many awards he can rack up with the great play that he's starting out with. And the last one, Jack Adams. Man, I am thinking this one's going to Paul Maurice. Because just they didn't want for him to be able to bring the Jets into this year and as long if we're able to finish in one of the top 2 spots in the West and don't regress after last year and be the same great team that we were last year, it's got to be Maurice, because to take this team and to do the right things and to put the right line combos out there and to make the right decisions. Not easy, and there's no blueprint, there's no booklet out there that tells you exactly what to do. So, Maurice deserves a lot of credit for what he's already done. But if he keeps the Jets playing at that top quality and we finish one of the top 2 seeds, they got to give it to him this year. So that is how I think everything is going to be shaken down in the NHL this season. I think it's going to be a great year. It's going to be fun for fantasy and pools. I think it's going to be fun for just a regular hockey to watch and follow. It's obviously I'm a huge Jets fan, so I'm watching most of their games and following them closest. But I try to follow a little bit everything. Being involved in fantasy and pools and stuff like that definitely helps. So, but it should be another great season, and obviously when we get to April and get into the playoffs, man, it's nothing like Stanley Cup playoffs. So, but long way away from that. Season just started, baby. So definitely going to enjoy another great NHL regular season. And moving on to the final few sports topics I wanted to talk about. Normally I'd be hyped up, getting ready to do a Raptors season preview, but the NBA is dead to me. I'm done with it, and it breaks my heart. I love basketball so much, love playing it, watching it, supporting it. I'm just done with the NBA. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not giving them my time and my energy or my money. I've done it for all these years, and after everything that's happened, no more. And there's no point because they're not playing basketball. It's not a level playing field. They're playing bitch ball, and it's not a level playing field. I don't care if people call me a crybaby or whatever. Watch the games. Like, the Raptors get jobbed out for calls and fouls. No matter what, I mean, it's supposed to. The way the NBA works, I get it. I know how it works. When you're a star player and when you're an multiple time All-Star, that's when you get the calls. You don't get the calls when you're a rookie or when you haven't done anything. But DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, two of the best players in the league, multiple All-Stars, regular season success, postseason success, and they still get jobbed out for calls. Compared, like, rookies get better calls than them. Like, they don't get any. They do not get any superstar treatment that every other superstar gets. It's like they get rookie calls. No man, it's a joke. And I mean, NBA fans, it's like Serge Ibaka, I think it was Game 3, blocks LeBron, totally owns him on it, and they call a foul, and everybody can't kiss LeBron's ass enough. I'm just done, man. I'm not getting myself riled up anymore. Like, the NBA has just been, I mean, it breaks my heart. I've loved the Raptors since day one, but I gave my time and energy to the Raptors and Vince Carter. Man, I remember specific times where my friends wanted me to come out, but I said, no. I'm going to wait till the end of the Raptor game. I want to watch Vince Carter, man. I want to be a part of this. I want to support, Vince Carter playing in Canada, one of the greatest players. I didn't have a lot of money when I was a kid, but a little bit of money extra money I did have, I spent on Vince Carter jerseys. What happened with that? My time, energy, and money turned around, and he's a quitter, faking injuries, pretending that he didn't want to dunk anymore, that he couldn't dunk anymore. Man, I'll never forget that first week in New Jersey, how I felt watching Carter go nuts and just be the old Vince Carter, and then to do that interview and admit to quitting and faking injuries. It's like, F you, VC, man. That's why all these new Raptor fans that want to bring him back and kiss his ass at the home court, and it's like, you could not have been watching when he was playing, because if you were, you would, like, there's a reason why Raptor fans are disgusted with him, and he has the reputation he has. Having his jersey retire, I'm torn on that. On one hand, he did put the Raptors on the map. He made the Raptors cool. He made the Raptors mainstream. He made the Raptors, I mean, they've never been a destination for players, but I mean, whatever players they were able to attract because of Vince Carter. So, yeah, I mean, he did do so much for the franchise when he was playing as the best version of himself. So he did. I mean, without him, there might not even be a Toronto Raptors franchise still around. Certainly wouldn't be anything close to what it is. So he does deserve it, but at the same time, you can't retire the jersey of a fucking quitter. I'm sorry, but it's just I am. That just riles me up, and it's like he faked injuries, man. Like, you can't. I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's a really tough thing for me to do. I mean, I think, if he stood in center court and specifically apologized for what he did, not a general apology, like, I'm sorry for half-assing it, I'm sorry for quitting on you, and I'm sorry for not, like, I'm sure he'd never admit to faking injuries, but I at least want to hear a specifically apology for quitting on us and for half-assing it on the court, because that's what he did. And I mean, because I mean, he does deserve to have his jersey retired. I mean, he did do so much for the Raptors, and it's not good. It's not good to have negative energy around something like that, which should be so much positive energy. So I'm really torn, but I think that if he specifically apologized, it'd be cool. But I'm really at this point beyond caring, because it's like, and then you move on to Chris Bosh and Calderon era, and they get jobbed out for calls brutally, and then Bosh can't wait to leave. And so, you go through the process again, and then we build it up again. We get DeRozan and Lowry and Valanciunas, and we build a great team, multiple All-Stars, buying we the North, and it's like, it's just blows me away that the Raptors bring so much good energy and life and fun to the NBA and the playoffs. Like, you see, the streets are just filled with crazy intense fans, and the We the North gotta be one of the most successful playoff team branding campaigns in the history of anything. Like, I'm not the biggest Drake fan. Like, I can't stand the guy's ego and everything and how everyone thinks he's the greatest, whatever. But I am a fan of him. I have a weird thing to deal with Drake too. But it's like, but give him credit where it's due. Like, he created. Like, I believe he was a big part of that, if not the creator of it. And I mean, We the North is just like taken beyond basketball, man. It's just, I just love it, man. I love that. To me is just like, this is what I've been waiting for that, and it was so fun to go in the playoffs with the We the North mentality. But it's ruined by the NBA totally sticking the middle finger in our face when it comes to call. I just don't get it. Selling out, tons of season tickets, selling out regular season games, selling out playoffs, buying merch, watching the NBA on TV, promoting it around. It's like, but they just treat Canadians and Canadian teams like it's like the plague. Like, it would be the worst thing in the world to have the NBA championship come to Canada. It's like it would like I don't think NBA players realized that what they would do for themselves and their brand if they brought a championship to the Raptors in Canada and Toronto. Like, they would have something built and solidified in Canada for life. Excuse me. Whether you lived here or not, like, you could come back and you'd have something here. But and then you go now. It's like, and right at the year, like the off season after, the Raptors get just more brutally jobbed out than they've ever been before in the playoffs, and then Ujiri actually like totally disrespects and just humiliates DeMar DeRozan, tells him that they're won't trade him, and if they do, they will give him the heads up. What does he do? Doesn't give him the heads up and just trades him away. Like, fuck, to me, that's just a cowardly move. You're too scared to tell DeRozan and hear his reaction, so you just do it. Like, to me, I'm just disgusted with the rally. I was a huge Masai Ujiri fan, but for him to do that, it's like, that is a total, I cannot support that. I mean, for a guy like DeRozan that gave so much to the team and the community and the fans and the city and the country and loved it and embraced it, and for you to just turn around and screw him over like that, like, F you, man. Like, you do not represent me as a Raptor fan. And I'm just done with it, man. Like, I am just totally done with it. Now that, and Kawhi Leonard is coming, and it's like, I'd love to be able to watch this team and cheer on Kawhi Leonard, and I'm definitely gonna be some exciting basketball. But man, the most pathetic thing to me in this offseason was all these reports about, Kawhi Leonard is gonna love Toronto. Kawhi Leonard would be crazy to turn down Toronto. Kawhi Leonard is everything he needs in Toronto to stay. It's just like, my God, man, if anybody out there actually believes that Kawhi Leonard is going to take a look at a max contract offer from the Lakers or the Clippers and say, I don't think so, guys, I'm going to sign with the Raptors instead, you're out of your mind. I got some beachfront, mountainside property in Saskatchewan to sell you if you're going to believe that, man. Like, there is no chance in it. There is no chance at all that Kawhi Leonard is signed in Toronto. When this offseason is over, Kawhi Leonard is going to La La Lay, baby. Like, as soon as, Lakers have a max contract to offer somebody. Clippers have one to offer somebody. Both of them said they want Kawhi Leonard. So, this is one season. The NBA will take your money and take your money on your Kawhi Leonard jerseys. They'll take your money on the sales, watching the game, hoping and thinking he's going to stay. And at the end of the year, he's gone, and they'll just enjoy those Laker or Clipper jersey sales, and the Raptors will peter around towards the bottom of the league where the NBA wants them. It's a joke, and I'm just not putting my time, effort, and energy and money into it anymore because there's no point. It does not get rewarded. If anything, it gets violated. So. I'm not watching it. I'm not even interested in seeing this, LeBron show in LA. It's just, all it is the referees propping him up. LeBron doesn't need it, but that is the reality of the NBA. The refs prop LeBron up, whether he needs it or not. Doesn't need it, but they do it. Watch the games. know the rules of real basketball and watch the games, you'll see it. But it's a shame. I love the Raptors. I've been a Raptor fan since day one. I love the NBA when they were playing basketball. They don't play basketball anymore. They play bitch ball, and it's just I'm just not doing it anymore. There's no at a certain point like if something you love is making you feel bad and not making you feel good and just doing negative things for you, then you got to cut it off, and that's what I'm doing. So it's a shame. I'm gonna miss it. I already miss it. I feel like looking at my Raptors stuff. I feel something missing, but it's just I'm not doing it again. It's just not. There's no point, and I'm just done. So I just can't. There won't be if anybody is looking for it, there won't be any Raptors or NBA season preview this year, because I can tell you how it's gonna go. LeBron and Golden State in the Western Final, Toronto and Boston probably in the Eastern Final, Boston, LA in the finals. That's how it's gonna go. Book it. Okay, and moving on. That's my final word about the NBA. Want to go back? I want to talk back to right around right towards the end of August. I was in Vancouver for this. I was really hoping I'd be in Regina for it, but Brooke Henderson won the Canadian Open in Regina, and it was just, man, it was such a great thing to have a Canadian woman who wins such a big tournament like that here. And I really hope it leads to more LPGA events being broadcast on TV, because these ladies are talented, man. And I mean, if you like watching golf, like you'd have to be a serious misogynist to be a golf fan and not want to watch ladies play golf, because it's just the skills are skills, man. These ladies are skilled. They've hit some amazing shots and they create really fun, intense tournaments. So I really hope things like Brooke Henderson's win lead to more LPGA events being broadcast in Canada and in other countries. But excuse me. But the more high profile wins like this that you can have and promote, the more the game is going to grow. Excuse me. So it was really awesome to see her do that. Big fan of Brooke Henderson. Hopefully she keeps racking up the wins and creates a legendary career, and and that would be a really huge thing to bring in women's golf into more of a mainstream position. So I just wanted to highlight that because that was an awesome moment. Wish I was in Regina for it, but was in Vancouver and Tofino for my cousin's legendary wedding. So it was can't complain, but definitely wish it would have been on another weekend. And into the PGA men's side of it, Tiger Woods, that was the big story at the end of the golf season. Almost won the FedEx Cup, but won his first tournament in like 5 years. So big time win for Tiger. But I am not on this. I just can't get behind this Tiger Woods love fest comeback story thing like everybody else. I mean, I tweeted about it at the time because I had to say something, but it's like, I mean, what is the guy really coming back from? Like cheating on his family and humiliating his beautiful wife. Like, I mean, the reason why he had to have all those injuries are caused by him working out like a madman to maintain the physique he needed to cheat with these hot chicks that he was cheating with. So it's like he did not get these injuries from golf or anything like that. He got it because he was working out so he could cheat on his wife. So it's it's tough for me too, because people deserve second chances. And I mean, when you give someone a second chance, you don't say, "Hey, well, you did this, so you can't." Like, that's not what it's about. If you give someone a second chance, you gotta let them move forward. But at the same time, there's consequences with things people do. You can't just do something extreme like a systematic system of systematic system. God, but just his whole this perverse setup for hiding and having different cities and different for just this whole cheating network that he had like that. There's consequences to that. You don't just get to do that, say sorry, and then all of a sudden you start playing good golf again and everyone acts like nothing ever happened. I don't know how to treat this. It's I don't know. I guess when you do something like that, you do get a second chance. But nothing can ever be the same again. It's not going to be the exact same as if you had never done that. So even though you get your chance, and you can still have a great moment out of that, it's just not the same. You have to treat it different. And I mean, it's. It's a very interesting conversation. I real one, and maybe I think it might even be enough for a whole entire what's up in the world today video. Talking about second chances, and it is if you know like how do you hold somebody accountable for their actions at the same time as moving on from it and not holding it above their head and raking them over the coals for it. It's tough. It's a very tough thing, and to me, it's like the way I guess I was taking Tiger Woods is like I'm enjoying the golf. I'm not like boycotting it because I don't really see like him too much change in his character into too many things that he's gone to do to make up for this. But I don't know the guy. Obviously, I don't know. I'm not in his personal life, so he may be doing lots to it. So I don't want to say that take a stance one way or the other because I don't know. But just from what I've seen and heard, and the feeling I get, things don't seem that very different. I think he's really sorry he got caught, and I think that maybe he feels bad that he hurt his wife, but I don't know if he would. I don't know if he really regrets actually doing it, or if he. I mean. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, like I say, I don't know. So he could be doing lots of it, and I could be, judging the guy very harsh. I don't want to do that. But I just I don't know. I guess with how serious, with how serious the thing that he did, I think I would like to see more of an effort, I guess, to make sure that other people aren't thinking that other kids in these generations aren't thinking that type of behavior is cool, or making sure that like men that are like. That are like him don't think that's cool or engaging in it. So I don't know. I guess I'm hoping to see a little bit more from him. But for me, I'm willing to give him a second chance. And he hasn't done anything negative or to the contrary. So you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But to me, I'm enjoying the golf. I'm giving him credit for a great performance. But I'm not like pushing him onto that pedestal, I guess. And yeah, I guess maybe that's the difference, for somebody that's coming off something where they're, like they did something really, somebody that's getting a second chance, maybe they aren't pushed onto that pedestal in a leadership role model type role. Maybe because that's, when that's the type of position that when you celebrate Tiger Woods in that way for that accomplishment, it's like, hey, it's a role model type position. It's like, look how great he is. You want to be like him. It's like I think you can't really do that with somebody on a second chance. But it's such a tough thing. But I don't know. For me, what he did really bothers me, and I would never engage in that type of behavior. I wouldn't associate with anybody engaging that type of behavior. So it's really tough. It's really tough. I really empathize with his wife, and with his kids who are going to grow up and learn about all this. I really, I don't know what he did really bothers me. So it makes me hard. It really makes it hard for me to be all sunshine and rainbows about his accomplishments. But I do feel man, it sucks because I hate having to have the stands. I was a huge Tiger Woods fan, like everyone else. I loved watching him perform. I wanted him to beat Jack Nicklaus's major record. I remember watching that one putt where it came up and it came down and it hung there for a few seconds and then it dropped in. I remember watching that thinking, man, I wonder if this shot will become legendary. Like, I wonder if I just watched one of those shots that they show on over and over and over and over and over again on people's highlight packages. I wonder if I just watched those shots, and I did one of those shots, and I did. It's like you always see that shot. And I remember watching that thing live. I was so pumped, and I was really bummed out when that whole controversy got exposed. So it's it's been a tough thing, but for me, I just appreciate the golf. I do, hopefully he's doing the right things in his personal life to make up for, what he did and never go back to that version of himself. But, I just have a really tough time getting 100% behind his comeback. And so normally I would be wrapping things up, and I've definitely gone long, talked long enough. But man, I have got to talk about WWE. Coming off of the Australia Mania, the WWE Super Show. But man, that was such an awesome show that I got to talk about it, because I mean I have never been this delusioned with WWE really since I stopped watching in around 06, 07, and then not, and I still follow results and watch from time to time, but watching regularly, like I was out for it. Wasn't just interest, there was other reasons too, but it was a lot of it was interest. Excuse me. But this time, I mean, I'm so disillusioned with the product. It is just, I mean, I put on Raw. Raw is basically background noise at this point. SmackDown is a little bit better. You can enjoy that a little bit more, but that's still cringy sometimes too. And I get it. I understand that right now they are only booking for kids. They don't give a damn about what I think about the product. Like, all they care about are kids and people with kids, so they can buy the merchandise and everything. I get that. That's why I've just really pulled myself back from the product and commenting on it and criticizing it, because it's not for me. And really, one of the most insulting things I've ever heard. I don't know if my like investing my time and energy into something, I don't know if I've ever felt that, insulted or violated more than, I don't know who made the comment, but somebody made the comment of, we don't have to write good storylines anymore. The fans will just make it up for themselves. It's like, that took me aback hearing that. It's like, we're actually being punished for trying to make sense of this and bring make things sound good. It's like they're saying, we're not going to put any effort in because our fans are so sick and tired of our bullshit that they'll actually make their own stories out of it, and then we just fall ass backwards into it and act like we were doing it the whole time. It's like, I've never been more disgusted as a fan of something, for somebody to actually say, we don't have to try and make good stuff. Our fans will just pretend that it's good or make it good themselves. Like, that is the most pathetic thing I've ever heard. And just the entitlement. It's like I think they're entitled for people watching the product. It's like they've had this pool of loyal fans that will buy merchandise and that will be pissed off and so sick of the product but will not stop watching because they love wrestling so much. They have this pool and they've had it for so long that they feel entitled to it now. It's like, oh, we can do whatever I want. They're going to come watch. It's just like, there's no effort into trying to make good product to justify people's effort and time and energy that they put into the product. Like, that line, I just couldn't believe it. That, I mean, if you look at my life, you might say wrestling is an obsession. So for me, it's not just turn it off and walk away and can't. Like, I need it around. I love it so much. It's just, it's so much good and even when it's bad, it's good, but it's at the same time, it's like, when it's good and when it's great, it's the best thing you've ever experienced and been around. And that's what wrestling fans want. And WWE has the potential to give everyone that every week. They just don't. They don't want to. They don't care. They can't. They don't see it. I don't know. But they have the talent there. I mean, it's just, they have the wrestling minds around them. They just, for one reason or another, they just refuse to do it. So it's but I mean, I get it. That's why I pull myself back, because they're really, you can tell, you watch the shows, watch the way they book matches. There's no effort into trying to do different things in matches. Everybody gets beat with the distracted roll-up of doom. I mean, oh my God, if I see that on Raw one more time, I'm going to puke. So I bet you I'll be vomiting all night tomorrow when I watch Raw, because that's all they do. Anytime someone needs to lose, distracted roll-up of doom, distracted roll-up of doom. It's just pathetic. Like, there's no effort into changing things up, to doing different things, to making things make sense. It's just, do whatever. Fans don't care. They'll make it up for themselves. Whatever. We're just making the product for kids, so kids will like anything. And that's one of the most frustrating things. It's like, they're they are writing and making things that only kids can enjoy. Kids are stupid, man. Kids will like kids. How hard is it to entertain a kid? Not hard at all. So they're the last group of people you should be specifically trying to write to. A kid will be entertained by something that you make for an adult. A kid will be entertained by something that you make that adults and kids can enjoy. Adults are not going to be entertained by the kind of garbage that they're making right now that's only geared for kids. And even kids aren't 100% on board with it. Like my nephew, my 10-year-old nephew, it's like we don't really get to watch Raw with him too much because we're not in the same city, but when I was there, I actually got to, and he's watching it going like, why are they doing that? It doesn't make much sense. But he was still, entertained. But it's like, even at 10 years old, he's like, this is stupid. This doesn't make sense. Like, so it's frustrating that, like, they're barely hanging on to these viewers. It's just like, it's, I understand. I get that one of the reasons why they got their TV deals is because the live viewership is becoming basically the most important thing on TV. Like, if you have something if you have a product that brings in live viewers that will not DVR and watch it live, that is like gold. So I get that's why the WWE are a hot commodity for their TV product. But at the same time, it's interesting to see how much improved the WWE stock has done since Trump became president. And it's like they're creatively, they are not getting better. It's like, and I mean they're bleeding viewers off of Raw. I mean they're almost under 2 million for 1 hour. That's crazy, man. Raw, an hour of Raw is almost under 2 million viewers. Holy shit, man, that is insane that we are at this level, and yet the stock price still goes up. Like, okay. That's why the stock, I'm not getting into that. That's another video for another day for sure. But that is why I've been so just turned off with WWE. And really, though, the in-ring action for wrestling frustrates me, not just in WWE, across the board, man. It's like one thing that's lost from like guys like Bret Hart, you would sell match to match. It wasn't just sell for one match and then go back, and then, then all of a sudden it's gone. You don't have to do it again. It's like, if Bret Hart injured his knee on Superstars, on the next pay-per-view, I'd be holding my breath when he'd fall out of the ring, just hoping he wouldn't hit that knee, and then, because I knew the knee was weak, and if he banged it, he was going to get it hurt, and that would make it susceptible to the heel to go after. So it was like, but I mean, like guys just have their egos are too big, and it's all about you and getting your stuff in and being the star. No one wants to sell for anybody else and make them look good because they're so fragile about their own position and their own status and talent that they can't make anybody else look good. So it's like that loses its fact, and just like, and I mean, I don't want to sound like, oh, you got to go back to the old days, and it's just like, but you have to evolve wrestling and bring it into bring new aspects into it and change things, but you can't, there's certain aspects of the old school you have to bring with it for it to stay wrestling and for it to be a product that people can sink their teeth in to grow viewers and to grow numbers. And it's just like, and it's not just WWE, like an Impact. Oh my God, man. They got a great the OVE with Sami Callihan and the Chris brothers. Those guys are an awesome team together. And those Chris brothers have a great move that they do, but one of the most frustrating for me, it's like a superplex, and the one guy is waiting for him standing on the mat, and he jumps into a sit-out powerbomb. It's like a superplex sit-out powerbomb. Awesome spot. Should be finishing every match, but everybody kicks out of it. Like that, it's such a spectacular spots like that should be finishing matches. It should not be being kicked out of. It shouldn't be a transition spot. It shouldn't be a nothing spot. Like, what are you idiots doing, man? God, it frustrates me because it's like, yeah, I've never gotten in the ring. I don't know anything about the wrestling business. But yeah, these guys are going and just literally, like, there's no build up to any of these moves. It's like the more spectacular a move is, the more impact it has finishing a match. So when people be talking about it when they leave the arena. Did you see him superplex him and he caught him and fucking slammed him into the mat? And he 1, 2, 3, that was insane. But no, they're walking out. Did you see that? Like, that was an awesome move. But oh yeah, he kicks out. Like, come on, man. It totally takes your suspension of disbelief out of it. It's like, I'm not saying like that, like, you can't do, only do 1 or 2 big moves a match. No, like, you can just still do 10, but if you're going to do 10, it's going to need to be a long match. Build up to them. Like, make sure that they actually count, and like spectacular moves are saved to finish the match, to keep people talking, to get people talking. It's like, that's where the psychology of it comes in, and that's where the psychology has been lost. Let's just do whatever, and then we'll end the match with a running knee. What are you doing? Like, it just, to me, it's just like absolutely insane. But it was, it's one of my biggest frustrations about the wrestling industry, and it's not just WWE. It is literally everywhere. But it's not going to change, because every single guy that wrestles like that defends it to the death. They will tell you that you're just a stupid mark that's never been in the ring, doesn't know anything. You're just an old school. Oh, you just want to cry about the old school and being gone. And you're just a typical old wrestling fan that wants the good old days and doesn't want to move into the new era where we have to, like, no, it's like the doing a lot of impact moves in one match. It is possible, but you have to do it in the right way. You have to do it and you have to build to it. And man, the spectacular moves, they need to finish the match, not a punch or like a kick or something. Like, it's different if you've built up a finisher and it's like the sweet chin music or something like that. But it's just, to me, it's like these guys kill each other with all these spectacular moves, and then it ends with something simple. Like, that's dumb. You want people talking on the way out of the arena. You want people talking out of the way, about your match. And how you're going to do that is making the spectacular moves mean more. So, and Seth Rollins, like, that guy frustrates me so much. I want to he should be an example as one of the best wrestlers, but he's one of the examples he does one of the worst moves. Totally kills off the superplex off the top, rolls through it every time, man. Like, just absolutely brutal, and it makes me want to change the channel. And it's just like, you'll go back and I'll sound like an old, your typical wrestling fan, but it's like old wrestling fan that wants the past back. But really, it's like, a superplex off the top is a spectacular move, and man, when you do that and splat onto the canvas, nobody's sitting there going, okay, that doesn't hurt. You're going, oh man, like, that would hurt, and I can see why these guys aren't getting up yet. But when I'm sure Rollins thinks that rolling through and doing the stupid Falcon Arrow is a spectacular move. No, that is not spectacular. It takes your suspension of disbelief out, and it kills off the impact of the superplex. So it's just very, very frustrated with wrestling across the board right now. There's still lots of great things in Impact. Despite my frustrations with that style, I still enjoy those matches. And even those matches where people were kicking out of that superplex sit-out powerbomb that I love, still awesome matches. It's just the matches will have more of an impact, and they'll be able to bring in more viewers, and they'll do more if spectacular moves like that are mean more and are pushed up and given a bigger spotlight and a higher pedestal. That is all I mean by that. And it's if you guys want to tread water, keep doing the same thing. But if you really want to bring wrestling into the forefront and keep it in, make it so that can be more than one big wrestling company, and that there can be, and that wrestlers across the board can be making money to take care of their families and enjoy the crap out of life. So it's I had to rant about that a little bit, because wrestling is my first love. But it's 205 Live has been really awesome lately. It's excuse me, the action that you see on there is just second to none. And Cedric Alexander, one of the best cruiserweight champions in the history of WWE or WCW, saying that right now. It's such a crazy roster, but now Cedric, I'm going to talk about the cruiserweight title coming up, but just 205 Live has been such they've really, when it started, this is the show we were hoping it would build into. So it's I think the story, I think it's missing a little something structure story wise. Like I think just something missing. It would be fun to sit down and kind of talk about what that could be. But I think 205 Live is in a great place, putting out great action. It's a must see watch. Every single week, because I mean you're going to see a great match every time on every episode, if not at least one, sometimes two or three. So, but I mean even if it's not great, you're getting like really good action. So I am enjoying 205 Live, but it's there's still room to grow for it for sure. And NXT obviously has been. And I just think NXT hold itself back a little bit with the 1 hour. The TV show being 1 hour. There's too much talent. There's too much that needs to be developed for it to be 1 hour. So I gotta specifically point out this Who Attacked Aleister Black storyline. Initially, I really I guess I wanted to roll my eyes and hate it, but it's like I can't. It has been an awesome storyline. They've done a great job with it. It reminds me of the Who Shot Mr. Burns. I'm sure that's somebody that thought of it. That's part of their influence for it. But it was just. But how they've structured it, it's like that was what really won me over and got me on board, because it's like I just think that it is. Initially, I thought that I don't know. They put so many layers to it. I've really gotten into it and enjoyed it. Now I'm really kind of I'm really waiting to see what the conclusion to this mystery will be. I thought they've done a really great job with it, and it's I just wanted to highlight that because it's one of the things. It's. Things like that are why NXT stays as the great show it is. But if NXT wants to grow and bring in more viewers and be more of a stand on its own brand, definitely going to have to increase the weekly show to 2 hours, because there's just too much talent and too much to develop for it to be 1 hour. But okay, so I've gone on my rant about wrestling and everything. It's it's just WWE, obviously they want to sell to kids and they want kids to be watching, but they don't have. Kids will be entertained by stuff that adults will like in a more adult. I mean, what kind of kids are they raising with the way? With some of the things that they do to these kids, like they can't see blood and they can't see a little violence, and they said a swear, so it's like cover your ears, little God. It's like, what are you guys gonna raise these kids to be the biggest pussies in the history? Literally, they won't even put blood and color on these old network clips. It's like it's in black and white. It's like these kids are just gonna grow up to it's like you don't need I grew up watching blood and wrestling. I grew up and watching blood in movies. It's like but I had parents that kept me away from the bad stuff until I was old enough, and they made sure that I didn't watch. And they would establish discipline to where, man, if I did not go on my own and watch it, because if my parents found out, I knew I'd get in lots of trouble. So it's like, people are just trying to coddle these kids too much, and it's like, kids can see a little bit of edgier content. It doesn't have to be all the absolute garbage that they're putting out now. It's just there's no toughness at all to it, and it's like. A kid seeing a little bit of blood in a wrestling show is not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to turn him into a raging psychopath or ruin his whole life. And man, have the parent explain to the kid. That's my dad. My dad explained what that was. Oh, it's blood packs. Oh, it's they do it themselves. It's like, but I was told wrestling is serious. You don't ever do that. Playing around with your brother and me, that's one thing. But if wrestlers ever found out you were wrestling on your own and trying to do what they do without proper training, everything, oh man, you would be in so much trouble, and they would give you the biggest submit. They would put you in a submission. You'd be screaming. My dad put the fear in me to let me know that this was serious business, and you do not it was it's just parenting. My dad let me know that this was serious, and so when I saw the blood, this is not something I thought, I want to do this, or I'm gonna go make someone bleed or make myself bleed. I was like, wow, this match is getting serious. And my parents, as long as parents be parents, there's no reason why kids can't see a match that has a little bit of blood in it, or can't see a little bit of content to where that's a little bit edgier. I'm not saying like Attitude Era type stuff, like not like that, but you don't have to go that far. It's like you can have edgier content and have more adult storylines, more adult action without getting into mature content, getting into like sex and extreme violence and like serious swearing and things like that. Kids can hear ass and like shit or whatever. Like I mean, kids can see like a little bit of blood as long as it's taken care of properly, or kids can see like a storyline where someone gets hurt or they're it's like they're afraid to turn these guys heel because the kids might feel bad. It's like, man, I had to deal with Hulk Hogan going to WCW, turning his back on WWF fans. Okay, that broke my little heart. That was my Santa Claus is real moment. And it's like, and it's just like, oh, look at how many kids love John Cena. Oh, look how many. It's like, man, it's like, it's all like turning heel is part of a cycle to growing them into a big major star. So it's like, I'm just praying for the day that WWE wakes up and realizes that we can bring kids in and have kids involved in our product without doing this lower, like even like rated G looks like rated R compared to the stuff they're putting on WWE TV these days. So really hoping they wake up and soon they realize that you can put on a more mature, more edgier adult product, but at the same time still keep kids involved and still make the product something that kids and families and adults can watch. It's possible. It takes a little bit more effort because writing to kids is lazy and easy. Writing extreme, edgy, just like over-the-line content is lazy and easy. But finding that middle ground, being able to find that thing that connects with everyone, that's the hard thing, and that's the sweet spot. That's where the real money is made. That's where the real foundation is built, and that's where you elevate your company to a level, to like on a level NFL where you can bring in 13 million viewers in for a specific show. I believe WWE can get there. They've done it in the 80s. I believe they can consistently get there. Wrestling can get there. Maybe not just WWE, maybe even 2-3 companies. But I believe wrestling is something that can connect with everybody if it's done right. It is hard. It takes a lot of effort to do it right, but no reason. All the elements are there in WWE for them to do it. So hopefully they wake up one day and get her done. But that's leading into the Super Showdown Australia Mania show. That's one of the reasons why I was more excited for this show than the other ones, is because people were talking about it as like a glorified house show. But I mean, at this day and age with the kind of product that gets put on TV, man, give me house show product all day, because that's where wrestlers have the freedom to let go, be looser, wrestle more like they like to, more wrestling type action. So that's what I thought we were going to see on this show, more physical, some real finishes, just better action. That's exactly what we got. What I was expecting on this show was exactly what they delivered. So I'm so happy that they watching this show, and after it was done, I was like, this will go down as one of my favorite shows ever. I mean, I always get I'm always like pretty hyped up after a show after I watch. So I'll have to give it a few more watches to see where how much I really did like it. But I had a blast watching it, and it was. I think it'll go down as one of my favorite shows. It was just top to bottom. I enjoyed it. Even the matches I would rank as the worst I enjoyed. So it was really fun, really great show. Gave me what I was expecting, and one thing I learned from reading Gary Hart's book was hopefully I'll be able to find a physical copy one day, but that is expensive, because there are few and far between, it looks like. But one thing I learned from reading his book was how that not only did Australia at one point have a wrestling scene, but it was one of the biggest in the world. It was thriving. It was it was one of the places where people wanted to go specifically to work to make some money. So I thought that was crazy, and from the times WWE has gone back there and done shows, the Aussie fans are just always crazy and intense, and anytime WWE goes there, I've always just wanted to be a part, either in the crowd or to watch it. So when they announced this show and that it was going to be in a big stadium, 70,000 fans, it's just like, sign me up all day for that. I was really really happy for the Australian wrestling fans to get this big spotlight to be able to showcase them and how much they love wrestling and how great of wrestling fans they are, because they came through. They provided a great atmosphere for the show. It was just in the they gave the matches the crowd heat. They were into the finishes. And the lighting the lighting and the look and the aesthetics for the show it all looked awesome, and the action delivered, the crowd delivered. It was just all around, 2 thumbs up for that show. I was thoroughly entertained, and it gave me exactly what I was expecting. So I'm just going to go quickly through each match and just say a little bit thing about each match, because like I say, it was such a good show, I got to say something about it. So to open things up, New Day versus The Bar. Great choice to open it. Now, not their best match in their series that they've had, but still a very good match and a great way to open the show and get the crowd into it, and get everyone into get everyone into the mood with some really great action, and that's what they delivered. Great choice for the opener. New Day retains, so The Bar are gonna have to fight another day, but two of the greatest tag teams of all time, and it's cool to be able to say that from tag teams that are coming out of our era when it's been some lean years for tag teams over the last 20 or 25 years or so. So it's pretty awesome to see The Bar and the New Day emerge as legendary teams. Next match up for the WWE SmackDown Women's title, champion Becky Lynch taking on Charlotte Flair. And these two had a really good match, built into something good. I think ended up with a DQ finish, so obviously they're continuing this feud going forward. I would have liked to see an actual real finish, but the DQ finish keeps it moving forward. They got great chemistry, so looking forward. I'm going to enjoy watching this story play out a little bit more. But up until the finish, we're having a really good match. Third match up on the show, Bobby Lashley and John Cena versus Kevin Owens and Elias. And it's like, Owens and Elias, they're entertaining. They're doing a good job of what they're given. But it's like, I just don't understand what they're thinking with Kevin Owens. It's like, one minute they seem like they're hot on him and they give him a big push. And then the next, when they have a chance to really, establish him and give him a big win or something, it's he doesn't get it, and he ends up in a feud looking like a complete loser, like in that Braun Strowman feud. So it's like, I don't know what they're seeing. To me, the guy, it's more work to do than there was earlier in their career. No fault of Kevin Owens, all on WWE for not capitalizing, but it's really, hopefully, sooner rather than later they really give Kevin Owens a chance to shine in a role that's, a lot more higher profile than what he's been in the past. Like, give him a chance to be the man, and I think Kevin Owens will, move the needle for it. But, you gotta establish him first, and then when he gets there, you gotta let him be the man and, have faith in that. So it's but this is a good tag team match. For me, this is probably the worst match on the show, but man, it was still a good stiff match. And man, Kevin Owens was hammering some of those shots in there. I was loving it. That's what I wanted to see, and that's what I was looking forward to with this, house show style show. But it was, I love to see that hard hitting action, and they delivered in this match. So weird to see John Cena with that look, with the lots of hair and thin, really leaned out, and it's finally brings out a 6 move of doom, and has to be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like, I'm sure it'll grow on me and it'll end up being one of the most over moves in the world and yada yada yada, but it's just like, really? Like, we're gonna get some at least it's not gonna be full time, thankfully, but looks like we have a 6 move of doom to deal with now. But Lashley and Cena got the win, no surprise there. This is obviously just a match to kind of sell the show and get people in the building, and to put on something entertaining for as a contrast to some of the more intense matches. Fourth match up, the hometown ladies, the Iconics, taking on Asuka and Naomi, and this is one of the entrances I was really looking forward to. I'm a big fan of the Iconics, so I was looking forward to seeing them getting to perform in front of their hometown, and they are just they are stars, man. Like they completely own the room when they walk in. It's like they make sure that everyone's looking at them. They're not looking at everyone else. And it's and to me it's like if they're gonna do women's tag team titles, these are the two you build that brand around, because those two are so entertaining together. They're so good together that it's just they will get people talking about the women's tag team titles. They will make sure people are watching the matches when they're on. They will be able to deliver in the ring with the other tag teams that they'll put together. So the Iconics are a team that you could build the tag team division around, and they're just I just think women's tag team titles would add a lot to the product, and it's I think it's time, and the Iconics should be, excuse me, I think the Iconics should be the team they build around, and really give them a good run to establish the title. And the Iconics, as Peyton and Billy have, to me they just shine every time they're out there, and they really command attention and command the viewers attention. So it's this match, a really good match with Asuka and Naomi. Asuka and Naomi are two of the best. Asuka really, it seems like somebody, Vince McMahon or somebody, must have fallen out of favor with her, because lost her streak at WrestleMania and has just been really floundering since then, not really doing much. And it's a shame, because I think there's so much potential for her, but it just doesn't seem like they know what to do with her right now. But hopefully, if they introduce tag team titles, maybe she can get in a team that'll help her, maybe bring some more personality out of her, or at least deliver some really great matches that'll help her to connect to the WWE universe more. But it was this one was a good match, and I was kind of thinking that they might not let the Iconics win. They love to put people put people down in their hometown, but thankfully the Iconics got the win, and it was one of the moments I was looking forward to that delivered. So nice to see. Fifth match up for the WWE title, no disqualification. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. Man, awesome match. This is finally AJ Styles, through no fault of his own, he's had to work with some brutal stipulations and some ridiculously booked finishes and things like that. But, finally a match where, going in, you're anticipating it as one of the best matches, and it delivers. This match was awesome. I thought it was, they had steps that they could work with. They really worked well with the feud that they built up in this. And, man, they had me. When Joe locked AJ into the Coquina clutch for the third time, I thought that was it. I thought we were having a new champion. I was, I kind of got the butterflies thinking, oh my God, like, AJ's going to lose the title. But then he kind of rolled through into the pin. So it was, I thought that was an unintentional comedy of the match. I was hilarious. Joe's sitting there with the referee like, my knee, I heard my pop, I heard my knee pop. It's done, it's gone. And then in the next breath, I'm fine, get out of here. Unintentional comedy. I thought that was hilarious. Said, 1 second I heard a pop, it's done, it's over. And then literally in his next breath, I'm fine, get out of here. Get away from me. I thought that was funny, but awesome match. And Samoa Joe been just putting on great performance after great performance, and once AJ's time with the title is at an end, it'll be interesting to see if Samoa Joe gets a chance. But been a great feud, and they really had a great match here that delivered on the reputation that both guys have as one of the best in the business. Sixth match up was a six-woman tag, excuse me. The Bellas and Ronda Rousey versus the Riot Squad. Now, this is a very good match. I saw they're teasing some dissension at the beginning a little bit with Ronda and Nikki. Both women wanted to start the match, so it's kind of expecting shenanigans throughout the match. And I know there was, as the match went on, I kind of thought that they might not even tag in Ronda, because they had tagged each other a few times, and with how the opening went down, I thought maybe that was the story they were going to tell, that Ronda wanted to tag in, but the Bellas were kind of not letting her. But no, they ended up, Ronda got the hot tag eventually and came in to dominate and show the Australian fans what she can do in the WWE ring. Excuse me. The Riot Squad are really having a great run as a trio. They work so well together. And whether it's whether it's 6, 10-man tags, tag team matches, singles matches, it's just whatever combination, they're awesome. They have so much chemistry together, and excuse me, all three women strong and as tough as they come. So it's like, and they really got to look strong in this match, beating up the Bellas, and and Ronda just looked strong until the end. Felt had to tap out to a double armbar. I mean, kind of would have kind of like, on one hand, I think the Riot Squad had more potential than to be put in a position like that. But at the same time, you're not losing credibility tapping out to an armbar from Ronda Rousey, even in a double one. It's not a spot that looked like contrived. It looked like something legitimately that could have got two people in there. So it was a cool spot, and it's definitely definitely doesn't hurt the Riot Squad at all, because Ronda Rousey has as much credibility as you possibly can for submission and arm bars. So, but it'll be interesting to see where they take this Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella. Rumors say they want that match for the title at the Evolution Women's pay-per-view. So not a lot of time to set that up. So I'm sure that if anything's going to happen, the significant step forward will happen on Raw. Seventh match up. This is one of the big ones for the Cruiserweight title. Cedric Alexander versus hometown boy Buddy Murphy, and probably the best match on the show. Awesome match, and great moment for Buddy Murphy winning the Cruiserweight title in his hometown in front of 70,000 plus. This is, when this match is announced, kind of all eyes on it to see, would they put the title on Buddy in his hometown? Could they resist not sticking it to him? And, what kind of a match would these guys put on with all the pressure? But, man, they delivered. It was an awesome match, and it was, great moment for Buddy Murphy. The crowd is into it. It was just, it was one of the matches I was looking forward to coming in, and it certainly delivered. It was, and a match that both guys will be able to hang their hat on, going forward in their careers. So glad that it lived up to the hype. And really a legendary run for Cedric as champ. He did a really great job and just delivered, having so many great matches. And just, he just competing at a clip that not many guys are able to do. So big hats off to him, and lots more great things ahead for him in the Cruiserweight division. Eighth match would be The Shield taking on Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, and Braun Strowman, and this was a great match. Like, I gotta admit, this wasn't one of the matches I was high on my list that I was looking forward to. Middle of the pack, I thought it would be good. Man, did it blow my expectations away. Like, not only was the action great in the match, but they were actually telling like a story within the match. It was just like the story with Dean Ambrose. Is he going to turn? How he ends up on the apron with surrounding Rollins and Reigns, with McIntyre, Ziggler, and Strowman on the other three sides, and then taking his time to get in the ring. And then he accidentally takes a Superman punch from Reigns. I thought that was gonna be the last part of the story they were gonna tell, and they were after the match they'd have to deal with the aftermath of that. But then the match goes on a little bit more, and then Ambrose about to get smashed through the barricade by Strowman, and who comes? Roman Reigns out of nowhere, spears Strowman and saves Ambrose in the nick of time, spears Strowman through the barricade. Oh man, that was a great spot, and it just worked so well with the story they were telling in the match. And then Ambrose comes back in to help his guys, and he gets the upper hand and gets the win. Like, I think this match probably is the best match on the show, just because of everything that was involved in it. Like, it was just, the action was great, but not only they told we're talking about like Halley's Comet here. Like, once every thousands of years do we see this. Like, I mean, how often do you see them telling storylines at all in WWE? Never mind inside of a match at a show like this. But they told, like, this was just unbelievably great job. I just, hats off, cheers to that. Like, I love this match. Thought it was great, and I'm a big fan of the Shield. I love the matches, the 6-man tag matches they had. So, like, basically all great. Kind of to me like they're like 80s wrestling. Just put them on and enjoy them all. But so when they were excuse me, when they were on their run, I was just obsessed with them creating matches that they could put on a list that would be great. That could join great matches on a list, and I'm so happy that they've added another one to their big long list of great matches. Because this was awesome, probably the best match on the show, and one of my favorite Shield matches. So and coming out completely out of nowhere. Excuse me, especially the storyline stuff. Like, I mean, this is the type of stuff watching wrestling that gets you excited, that I want to see more of. So I was just, but I mean, I'm not holding my breath with the state that we're in right now. So it's just a huge thanks to everybody involved for that match, because they pulled out all the stops, and it was just really, really great. Maybe the match of the year so far. I really, really loved it. And the 9th match, and not much of a match, but whatever. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. And I don't know. This was one of the feuds everybody was excited about, with Daniel Bryan coming back, with how Miz, and with the history they already had, and their history they had while Daniel Bryan was GM on Talking Smack and everything. But I don't know. Is this feud gonna keep going? Because now, Daniel Bryan pinned The Miz really quickly with a small package. I didn't really mind, but I mean, while it was a short match and I was looking forward to something a little bit longer, at the same time, it's like stuff like that works in wrestling. It keeps it real. Keeps pinfalls mean something. It helps keep near falls exciting. So everybody was shocked. You could tell how shocked the Australian crowd was that small package ended the match. So it's next time Daniel Bryan throws a small package, I think people will be a little bit more into it. But it's interesting finish to the match. They were obviously running short on time, but that might not be a factor, because they really had all the time they need. It was just a network show, so I don't know. But Daniel Bryan now is #1 contender, gets a title shot, and it's I'm really not too excited for the end of this year and going into the next WrestleMania season, because it's the Royal Rumble's really been ruined for me with everything they've done to it, and last year both winners losing, and it's it's for me, it's one of the only things that could probably get my interest really jump my interest back in the product, to be something like, yeah, I still would love to see Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble, and right now they have a prime opportunity to do what they should have done at WrestleMania 30. Like, I can't believe it's actually presented itself again, but it actually is. WrestleMania 30 should have been Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton for the WWE title. It would have been the greatest match of all time. Those two have amazing chemistry, and with those stakes and the crowd energy and the stage that they were on, it would have been the greatest match of all time. But obviously we know what happened to not give us that. But man, the stars are actually aligning again for something like that to happen. Daniel Bryan has been kind of screwed over by The Miz a lot, so he's been in an underdog role, and Randy Orton is on a great heel run now with the sadistic side of himself, with the stuff with Jeff Hardy's ear, and now breaking Ty Dillinger's finger, and he's just, and I don't think he's used the RKO, so it's like, that is huge. Do not keep the RKO as far away from Randy Orton as possible in this heel run. But man, people are responding to him in a heel way, so it's like, Randy Orton has put himself in a position to give him to get a title shot at AJ Styles. So I mean, really, you could see Randy Orton winning the WWE title at you could add something like a Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, and Randy Orton wins the title, carries it into WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble, and those two get to have the match that they were always meant to. And I think that match, I want to see that match. As big of a Daniel Bryan fan as I am, I want to see that match not just for Daniel Bryan, probably more for Randy Orton. because Randy Orton needs that match. He needs that one great legendary match to hang his hat on in his career. Because Randy Orton's been in a lot of great matches. He's had a great career. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He'll be mentioned as a legendary performer in conversations for generations and throughout history. But he has not had that one great match that he can hang his hat on in his career, that he can walk into a room with a bunch of other legends and be like, hey, this is my match. Like, if every legend had one match they could put out there as, this is my match, follow that. Randy Orton, he's got some, he's definitely got some he could say, but I mean, like, I don't know, I don't believe he's had that one great hat hanging match that to establish that other greats have had. I think he's been close times, but just certain things have worked out, not worked out. But I think a match with Daniel Bryan is the match he was meant to have, and that match will go down as the greatest. I think that match could challenge Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25 because of the stakes. WWE title, Daniel Bryan coming back from injury, the history behind WrestleMania 30, and maybe this should have been the match that we saw then. It's just and the storyline that they could potentially build between these guys. It's like I've been thinking about it. I have my own ideas. I think I could help craft a really interesting story. But I mean, I think I could help. I think I could help in every aspect. But I really thought about this to think about how could you write something to really make this put as much heat behind it as possible. So there's I think that I don't think that's the way they'll go. I think there's no chance in hell that Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble, or even Randy Orton wins Randy Orton probably has a better chance of winning the WWE title than Daniel Bryan has winning the Royal Rumble. But I mean, the Royal Rumble this year, the reports say The Rock is coming back to win it to face Roman Reigns, which is insane. I mean, if The Rock is coming back, he should be facing Shawn Michaels. That's the biggest, or Shawn Michaels or Brock Lesnar. Like, those are the two biggest matches that'll bring the most eyeballs to the product. And I mean, obviously, you'd love to see him work with a younger talent, maybe put him over. But I don't know. But because of the way WWE's done things in the last couple of years, nobody's really in that position to bring mainstream eyes to the product the way, and to have that rub benefit the way that Shawn Michaels or Brock Lesnar would bring eyes to it. I think at this point the better thing would be use those guys to bring mainstream eyes, and then hope those mainstream eyes are impressed by hope those eyes are impressed by what they see with the other matches. Put the guys working together with the best case scenarios, and let's rock and roll. I mean, for me, best case scenario would be something like, like you could do, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, WWE title. You do Shield triple threat for the Universal title, and then you have Brock, Rock, or Rock, Shawn Michaels, or even Brock Lesnar, Shawn Michaels as your big mega attraction like that. So, or you can throw Triple H in there. You do your Brock, Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I mean, there's so many different combinations you can put out there, but it's I just to me, I want to see Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton, because Randy Orton needs it more than Daniel Bryan does, and Randy Orton, I think, deserves it, and would really do a lot for him to be able to have that one match to hang his hat on and be like, okay, I did it. Like I put on the kind of match that my potential always said I could put on. So it's but there's no chance in hell they go that direction. But I was just looking at it and I kind of saw it seemingly bringing itself back together. So I wanted to mention that. But moving on, last but not least, the main event, the 10th match on the card, the last time ever Triple H versus The Undertaker singles match. And, I actually enjoyed this match for what it was. I knew what it was going to be. I knew it wasn't going to be, like a up and down, speedy mat classic. I knew it was going to be slow and prodding and physical. And, oh my God, man, The Undertaker hit Triple H with a chair shot to the back that I felt, man. Like, that was insane. Those guys beat the shit out of each other again. But it's it was I enjoyed the match, you know, and I really enjoyed the finish of the match, you know, like I thought one of the best spots of this Taker streak was the super kick Sweet Chin Music pedigree spot. I think it was 28. I thought that was over when that happened, and Undertaker kicked out. So I was pumped that that move ended it this time, and it was, you knew Triple H was going to get the victory after, you know, losing to the Undertaker at 2 WrestleManias. But I enjoyed this for what it was, and you know, for knowing it was the last time ever, you know, I enjoyed it, and it, you know, it was. You know, I've people threw it out there as the worst match on the show. Like, man, I think you're insane. I, I cannot relate to you at all if that's the way you're thinking. Like, that's just crazy talk to me. But obviously this is leading to a tag match. I'm not even. I mean, the fact that Shawn Michaels' first match coming back might be at that Saudi show. I'm just. Too much not nice to say, so I'm just gonna move on from there. But that brings us to that's to the end of the Super Showdown, but what I like to call Australia Mania. That was an awesome show. So all the match, even the worst match on the show was good, but they were just awesome matches. Great Shield match, great Cruiserweight title match, great WWE title match. You know, great women's match. So I just, you know, I got everything I wanted out of this show. Everything I was looking forward to delivered. Everything I was hoping for came through. So, you know, hats off. Cheers to the Aussie fans. You guys were awesome. Excuse me. You deserve this big show. You deserve more big shows. And, you know, it was awesome to see the Aussie performers get to perform in front of their hometown crowd. So, this was an awesome, great show. Glad WWE did it. You know, in the next Australia Mania 2, I'll be there again. Hopefully in person. That'd be awesome. Excuse me. But if not, definitely through What's Up in the World Today and watching at home. So, and you know, it's I was glad to have this show because, like I said in my rant at the start, not a lot for me to look forward to in wrestling these days. Even though I still watch stuff and enjoy it, it's just I'm basically like, I guess barely enjoying it. You know, like I wanna be invested again. I wanna be like brought out of my chair and moving to the edge of my seat, and you know, I just want something to inspire energy and emotion, and you know, just that fun, the fun of following and watching great wrestling again. And you know, I mean, I obviously I have a big dream of of collaborating with somebody in a company. But you know, I would be fine if God, you know, wanted to deliver me the opportunity to do things on my own. You know, obviously anything, whether I was, you know, coming into someone else's company or having the opportunity to do things myself, I would need to put a team together, and like I wouldn't want to do it with anything else but, you know, with a team together. But you know, there's 2 ways to do it. You can go, somebody else can bring you in, or you can do stuff on your own. Now, obviously some pretty big miracles would have to happen for me to do things on my own, but it's, you know, I'd be certainly willing to join someone else's team and help out. But I mean, it is what it is. I just keep plugging forward and moving forward, and if that's the path God delivers to me, that's what he delivers. But you know, like I feel I don't think I'm gonna get the wrestling I want unless I'm able to kind of help shape it and, you know, be a part of it. So you know, I'm not gonna spend time, you know, complaining about it or criticizing it. I'm just gonna try and enjoy it for what's presented. And you know, even though I'm gonna try and enjoy these crash boom bang, you know, style of matches that we get all across the board in wrestling these days, and you can enjoy them. It's just I wish that they were, you know, making the spectacular spots mean more, so that, you know, more eyes would be coming to wrestling, because you know, it's, you want people walking away talking about the crazy things that they saw, and if spectacular moves are finished in matches, that's what's gonna happen. But it's but you know, but because I'm not, you know, because of the, you know, being very disillusioned with wrestling lately, it's, you know, not a lot I'm really looking forward to. But I was really looking forward to this Australia show. I'm really looking forward to sitting down with getting a full menu of the Mae Young Classic Part 2. You know, I've watched bits and pieces of it, but I like to sit down and I actually, I'm gonna sound weird, maybe sound real cool, but I actually love to do commentary for watching these shows now. Because a few years ago, I was just watching a match on Raw, and or on pay per view, and I got so frustrated about them not calling the play by play of what was going on. I just started doing it myself, and from just growing up wrestling, and I was always it always made it more fun to be commentating as you were wrestling, and just doing that, I kind of got good at it, and and then when I started doing it for TV, it actually really really fun. It makes you enjoy matches so much more when you're into it, and you're basically dictating and telling the story that you want, and getting excited for the near falls and stuff like JR used to. Like, I used to love that, and you don't get that as much anymore. But it helps me enjoy the shows a lot more. So I do it, and it's just fun. I just have fun with it. But it really does help me enjoy. But so I like to sit down with a full slate of the Mae Young Classic and just watch it and commentate along with it, because it's some great action, and these ladies are telling some amazing stories. So looking forward to the Mae Young Classic too. Really looking forward to the women's pay per view, the WWE Evolution. The first women's pay per view for WWE of any kind like that. So this is. They need to set the bar high, and this is an opportunity that doesn't come along every day. Not women of the past didn't have this opportunity, so they need to really deliver and do something. Deliver on something that just people are expecting something great, and they need to deliver something legendary. So really looking forward to those next two things. But really, that's all I'm looking forward to throughout the rest of this year and even into early next year. Like, as a lifelong WWE fan, I always get trained to be excited into Survivor Series and Royal Rumble and stuff. But really, my interest is not in it. Like, I really don't care that much. And until things change, where it's products a little bit more mature, adult style, and the style of action in the ring is a little bit different. Can't see myself getting crazy excited about every show again. But the good shows that are promoted well and should give you the style and things that I want, definitely gonna highlight those and appreciate them. And that was what the Australia Mania was for me. That's what the Mae Young Classic 2 and WWE Evolution are. So I'm really gonna be looking forward to those. Probably gonna be doing another blog piece. I did a blog piece for the first Mae Young Classic. That'll probably end up being a little bit of both. Some probably talk about it on a video, and then also a blog piece. I'm going to be doing something for the WWE Women's Evolution pay-per-view, because that's a pretty significant big deal. But that's probably it for wrestling talk, because like I say, I'm just disillusioned with it, and until things change, I just can't, like with the NBA, I just can't give my time, effort, and energy in the same way when I feel like it's being violated like it is. So I'm just going to, just hang back in WWE. It'll be background noise. I'll be, I'm definitely haven't bought merchandise in a long time. I'll be watching, but because I need wrestling in my life, but it's just not the same, and it breaks my heart. But I know one day things are gonna WWE will figure things out and get things on the path that people like me can appreciate, or I'll get the opportunity to shape things myself. Either way, I'm cool with it. So, but I just love wrestling, and I want to push wrestling to the highest pedestal, bring it to the best possible version of itself, and that's just that is what it is. But I've gone long today, so I'm gonna cut it short there. Talked about everything I wanted to, but it's just love sports, love wrestling, and I love talking about it. And it's like when sports and wrestling are at their best, there's nothing better. It's just so great, and I love it so much. So thanks everybody for coming along for the ride today, and we'll see you soon down the road. Much love and God bless. Peace.